Ever get sticker shock when that winter heating bill arrives? You know that moment when you're like, oh, how much to stay warm?
Yeah, ouch.
Well, imagine if half of that bill was directly tied to natural gas prices,
Yeah.
because that's the situation in Argentina.
That's right. It's not just some abstract thing down there, you know what I mean? We're talking about heating homes, powering their industries, natural gas. It really is the lifeblood of their whole energy grid.
And that's why today we're going deep, really deep, into Argentina's energy sector, particularly their natural gas industry.
We're going to see if they have what it takes to be a major global player.
Because let me tell you, the source material we've got, it's a wild ride. It's like a roller coaster, honestly, through Argentina's history with gas production.
Yeah, it's been up, it's been down. There have been moments where they felt like, we're energy independent, and then boom, it's like, wait, where'd all the gas go? Their energy journey, it's been anything but predictable.
And get this, they actually have the know-how, the expertise
Mm-hmm.
to build parts of those LNG plant and ships themselves, like domestically.
Wow.
It's kind of, they've got all these puzzle pieces, right?
Right.
But actually putting it all together, well, that's a whole other challenge, isn't it?
It is, and that's what makes the decisions they're making about gas right now so incredibly crucial. It's not just about keeping their lights on, it's about their economy, their place on the world stage, you know?
Right, geopolitics, the whole thing.
Exactly, high stakes.
High stakes. Okay, so let's rewind for a sec. Back to the 1940s, that's when those major gas discoveries were really starting to happen. And our source material, it really dives into how Argentina has handled, well, let's just say, managed their energy sector. And it's been, well,
Eventful.
that's one word for it.
It really has been a mixed bag. You've got YPF, their national oil and gas company. They were top dog for decades. Then the 90s hit, and bam, here comes this wave of privatization.
Oh yeah, the promises.
Promises of a shiny new future, all fueled by foreign investment, naturally.
It's familiar, right?
Right.
I mean,
Like,
a lot of countries, they got swept up in that whole wave.
Oh, absolutely.
But as with most things that sound too good to be true, it didn't quite work out as planned for Argentina, did it?
Not quite. You see, the 2001 economic crisis, that hit them hard, and that flood of foreign investment they were promised evaporated.
Dried up.
Gone. Production took a nosedive, and suddenly figuring out how to keep the lights on, well, it became a whole different ballgame.
And then comes 2011. Big year.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Argentina hits, well, potentially at least, the natural gas jackpot.
Vaca Muerta, right.
Vaca Muerta.
One of the biggest shale gas reserves anywhere in the world. I mean, talk about a golden ticket. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It
Uh-huh.
totally changed the game for them.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they're not just thinking about keeping their own lights on.
Oh, no.
We're talking global exports now.
They're thinking big global energy market, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And that's where LNG comes in, right? Liquefied natural gas.
Exactly. Shrink that gas down 600 times, put it on a ship, send it anywhere.
It's like having this magic shrink ray for energy.
Right.
That's incredible. And for a country like Argentina, a country with, let's be honest, ambitions to be a real energy powerhouse, LNG could be a game changer.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking revenue, investment, global influence. It really opens up a world of possibilities.
But and our source material really highlights this, it takes a lot of cash. We're talking billions with a B to build what they need to make this LNG dream a reality.
Billions.
There's this proposed project, I found it fascinating, with Petronas. They're a Malaysian energy giant. And they're talking about potentially putting $10 billion into Argentina's LNG sector. $10 billion. What are they seeing? What's got them so interested?
They're seeing those Vaca Muerta reserves. That's what, like we said, they're massive. But building that supply chain for LNG, it's not simple. It's a whole process.
So walk us through it. How do you get that gas from way down there in the ground to a giant tanker ship ready to set sail?
Okay, so first you got to extract it, right? Shale formations, Vaca Muerta.
Okay.
Then it's pipelines, transport it to these huge processing plants.
Right.
That's where the magic happens. It gets liquefied. And finally, loaded onto these specialized tankers.
It's a global operation.
Oh, yeah. Big time. And every single step requires serious investment, expertise, the whole shebang.
And that's where it gets really interesting, because it's not just about, the technical stuff, the nuts and bolts of getting the gas out of the ground and onto a ship. We're getting into these bigger issues.
Oh, yeah.
Sovereignty,
Control.
foreign influence.
Yeah.
The long game, like what does this mean for Argentina's economy years down the line?
It's a balancing act. Trying to attract that foreign investment, they need the money to develop the LNG industry, but at the same time, they want to hold on to their resources.
It's a tough one. And that tightrope walk, it leads us straight to the controversial RIGI law, which our source material dives into.
It's meant to bring in those big international investors, but it's created some serious debate.
It has, because it's a classic dilemma. Do you prioritize rapid development, even if it means giving up some control? Or do you hold on to your resources more tightly, even if it means slower progress?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It's a tough call. It seems like there are really strong arguments on both sides.
There are. Proponents of this RIGI law, they argue that Argentina needs that influx of capital and technology that foreign companies bring to the table. They say it's the only way to fully unlock Vaca Muerta's potential.
And turn Argentina into a major LNG exporter?
Bingo!
But it's not all smooth sailing, is it?
Not at all. Our source material brings up some big what-ifs that can't be ignored.
Lay it on me.
Okay, one of the biggest is the risk of Dutch disease.
Dutch disease. What's that?
Think of it this way. Imagine a country winning the lottery with natural gas, but then forgetting how to do anything else.
Uh-oh, I'm not liking where this is going.
That's the danger. They become overly reliant on a single resource.
And then what happens?
Well, if global gas prices plummet or demand dries up, their economy could be left in a very vulnerable position. Plus, over-reliance on natural gas, it could stifle innovation and growth in other sectors.
Like manufacturing, agriculture, all those other things that help a country thrive. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket and hoping that basket is incredibly sturdy.
And let's not forget the environmental impact. Building and operating these LNG plants, it comes with inherent risks.
Spills, pollution. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Argentina has to weigh these risks carefully when deciding where to build these facilities.
Which brings us to the next big question. If you were in charge, if you had to choose those locations for these LNG plants, what would be your top priorities?
First and foremost, safety has to be non-negotiable. LNG plants are generally safe, but there are risks.
Safety first.
Always. I'd be looking for locations with robust safety protocols, well-trained personnel, and a proven track record in managing complex industrial facilities.
Makes sense.
I'd also be looking at existing infrastructure. You need pipelines to get the gas to those plants and access to deep water ports for those LNG tankers. Our source material mentions Bahia Blanca as a potential location.
Bahia Blanca?
Right. It boasts one of the deepest ports in Argentina.
Okay, so location, infrastructure, safety. It's like a giant high-stakes game of industrial chess.
It is. And just like in chess, you have to think several moves ahead. I'd want to make sure that the chosen locations align with Argentina's long-term energy strategy, that they contribute to a diversified economy, and that they minimize any potential negative impact on the environment and local communities.
It's about making choices that benefit Argentina, not just today, but for generations to come. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Argentina's energy future, one thing's for sure. It's full of potential, but also some really tough choices.
It is. And as we've seen, there are no easy answers.
A delicate balancing act.
The decisions they make in the next few years will have a ripple effect for decades to come.
Exactly. In a world grappling with climate change and the urgent need to transition to cleaner energy sources, where does natural gas, even in its LNG form, fit into Argentina's long-term energy mix? That's something for all of us to ponder. The conversation that extends far beyond the borders of Argentina. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.